1 year in New York City. I think it's time for a recap, but honestly, it's way too cold here. Let's go inside. Hi, in case you're new here, my name is Ben and I moved a year ago from Vienna in Austria to Brooklyn, New York City and started and founded my video production 24 Stills here. And today I want to talk with you about my journey so far, about the successes I had, about the failures I had, and most important, about all the learnings I had over this last year.
Alright, day one of my new life in New York City. And honestly, this sounds wild. This sounds so surreal that I don't know, it just for me it feels like as we will be here now on vacation. On a vacation where I brought nearly all my belongings with me, and
so I was doing video for the last, I would say, 4 and 5 years. I worked for companies, for brands, and produced branded documentaries where I tried to tell a story about different products, but not about the product itself. I wanted to tell stories about the product with the people. I also did a lot of event videos there in Vienna, especially in the medicine field where we shot kind of after movies for them. So in general, I would say it's not so easy to move to New York City. It's super expensive, it's super crowded, and so many people need to figure out their way, how things work here. So I had this plan, I thought I had everything figured out, but I also learned over the last year that I still have to learn a lot. More or less, you build your whole life in a new way, and of course you know that when you go abroad, but in some ways you have to learn it that it is like this. And it's more like my social life, and every small tiny daily thing is kind of new here. And besides moving to a new country, I had the plan of building my business, and I had to build my website. I had to figure out the design, how I want to structure it, how I want to present my work to future clients. I had to do all the legal stuff of founding in a new country. I already checked my office, which looks a little bit spare right now, but I think it will look better, and at least I can get some work done. I did some planning for the new website that I'm going to set up, which will be good. And I also had to update my portfolio, because even though most of my work was already work that I can show and that I can present to clients, all of it was in German. So I had to add captions to them. And I also realized I want to do other projects. And so I started different passion projects for putting them on the website.
Hi, I'm Pooja Reddy. I am a Brooklyn-based stand-up comedian and writer. And today, you're coming with me on
I reached out to a friend of mine who I met here, and she is a New York-based comedian. And I documented her journey of preparation, of going to this TV channel, of all the behind the scenes, speaking with people and showing the struggles and also the successes of a comedian who wants to make it happen here in New York City.
It is so nice to be here in New York City. I've lived here for a few years now, but
it was pretty fun to do it. And I think for me the most interesting thing was to see that it's easy to have a big picture, to have a goal, but it's much harder to go for this goal every single day, because all these small little steps that I included for going to this goal, you don't see them, and you have to motivate yourself every day to get up, think about new projects, reach out to people, and try to make all of this work actually. And then start producing videos, I guess. So I already set up some laptop stuff here, but I hope that this will go
over here.
I had to figure out ways, and I'm still figuring out every day ways how I can reach out to people and how can I connect with brands, with people, with companies to produce something and to get actually work. So what I actually did was I could ask my wife for her network, so I could meet up with some people that she already knew. I reached out over LinkedIn to a lot of people and put myself on LinkedIn a lot. Invested a lot of time to make all of this happen. I learned you need to have a long breath when you want to get clients. The response rate on LinkedIn is kind of terrible, and when I reach out to 50 people, maybe 1 or 2 people come back to me, which does not mean anything, which just means that they're maybe open to have a coffee with you, but it does not mean that they would hire you or that they can refer you. I learned to figure out the sweet spot between being nice, being friendly, but also knowing your own boundaries. Because I got asked so many times, do you want to produce something for free? And I remember that I reached out to a big event planner and offered him, hey, do you need video for a big event that he hosted? And he was like, sure, you can produce a video for me, but you have to pay the entrance fee. You do this for free because there are so many other event planners there that it would be helpful for you. And I realized for myself that I need to have boundaries, and I need and want to know when I shoot stuff for free. And it's very important that it has value to me, that maybe it adds something to my portfolio, or that it's a cool project, and that the person, the other company, sees the value in it. I also learned that I sometimes have to do jobs that maybe are not my passion, my most favorite jobs, but you still need to get jobs to pay your bills. So what I did, for example, was that I worked a couple of times as a second shooter for weddings. Again, not my dream job, but it helped to pay the bills. I started recording an event panel a couple of times for a community event, which again is not the end goal to film only panels, but was kind of cool to go to the city, to go to the headquarters of Shopify and producing content there.
We're going to film at a content creator meetup. They will have kind of a panel discussion and ask me if I could film this whole thing. So it's going to be fun.
And the last big learning is definitely about prices, because I learned very early on that nobody tells you something about prices, about their prices, about how much to charge. And when you start out at a new place, it's kind of difficult because you need clients, you want to produce something, but you also don't want to undersell you. And so for me, it was kind of figuring out the sweet spot between getting clients on board, but also not underselling myself. But overall, I had definitely successes. I shot my first corporate job at the NASDAQ, and they produced kind of a short documentary about a small company that was related to the NASDAQ, and I could work there, which is kind of cool if you stand in the middle of Times Square and realize this is happening. You have a camera and you earn money filming for a company like NASDAQ. I had my first own business gig at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where I produced a success story of the director of the Met, Max Hollein, which again was just crazy if you think about that you came to a new place a couple of months ago and all of a sudden you are in this beautiful place at the Metropolitan Museum in the middle of New York City and you are able to produce something like that. I had also the opportunity to shoot an event film for Tag Heuer last year in Manhattan. This was my first real event film that I shot in New York City for a super awesome brand. Still, when I think back, it's one of the coolest things that happened last year. So what's the goal for this year? My goal is to produce documentaries. Documentaries for corporate clients, but also documentaries about people and about stories that happen in New York City. Stories that I can share with you here. And my goal is to have between 15 and 20 of these corporate documentaries, corporate gigs. Why I'm doing this, why we're all doing stuff like this, is because we want to tell stories and we want to be able to produce something, to create something. And I think when it comes down to me, this is one of the most important but also most beautiful things, that I have this camera and I'm able to tell stories and to live in New York City and make a living with it and share these stories with all of you. And if you have any questions, any ideas for projects, any New York City stories that you think would be a cool idea to document, let me know. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your feedback, and let's see in which direction this channel goes. I don't know, but what I know is that I'm very happy to live here and being able to document. So see you hopefully in the next one.